Ranking all the movies and TV shows I watched in 2022. I'm not a big movie guy, I'm more into games as you'll see in my 2022 game ranking video, but I hope you enjoy this one too. There will be no spoilers whatsoever and I'll show you only the start of the movie and TV show to avoid these spoilers. Okay, let's start with the worst and work our way to the best movies and shows I watched in 2022. This is one of the most blatant cash grabs I have ever seen. It's so bad it completely ruins the lore and even the enjoyment I had from the original Jungle Book. The songs they sing are reused from the original, one of which is sang 3 times. Characters make nonsensical actions and so much more. I'm very sorry I watched this crap. This show is great for people who like watching war media. I thought I would like it too, but it's just not really my cup of tea. It shows real life events from history following a platoon of soldiers. Personally, I'm not into American history, so this did not grab my attention at all. Many of you would enjoy it though, so give it a try. It's just 1 season, so it's worth the watch. This is basically a game in movie form. Quests, gamer talk, references to games, the main characters are gamers and so on. By all accounts, I should enjoy this, unfortunately I just didn't. I think the movie is trying too hard to capture the gaming crowd, but falls flat multiple times. I never cared about the characters and what they were doing. This right here sums up the movie perfectly, a steaming pile of doo-doo. Disney, stop remaking beloved cartoons from the past, movies which 100% of the time are heaps better than what you can make nowadays. Lots of them changes throughout, weird animations at times, voice acting is lacking, needless censorship because, oh no, we can't allow a child to see a cigarette or beer, how could they live with themselves if they did? Also, yes, this is not beer, it's root beer. And I specifically said it 4 times, so you know it's not alcoholic beer. What a disgrace to a once beloved movie I watched as a kid. Yep, I know the internet will hate me for this one, but Better Call Saul is a bit crap. I see why people like it so much. Breaking Bad is my favorite show of all time, and for many of you too. However, I never liked Saul, never cared about his past, and the judicial system in America is the most boring thing in the world. Better Call Saul is way too slow, way too boring, and I never cared about most characters, at least unlike the Jungle Book 2, it does not ruin the characters I loved in Breaking Bad, but I just didn't enjoy it. This was the biggest waste of time I had in 2022. It took me like 5 months to watch all the seasons, and if it was interesting it would have taken me like a week or 2. I'm very sorry I watched it and I'm very sorry I'm talking about it since I'll get lots of downvotes for it. One of the shows from my childhood, and yes, I watched all 9 seasons. The first maybe 5 seasons were very fun and creative, but the later ones start reusing old jokes, the kids are bigger and not as interesting when on the screen, and the producers start making ridiculous scenarios to keep the show interesting. The humor became way over the top, and the actions of the characters become straight up illegal. No way a family can get away with all they have done in this show, especially in the later seasons. It just loses the family touch and becomes a fantasy, which I didn't like at the end. I enjoy Terminator movies and this one is no exception. The plot in this one felt short though. I was not a fan of the girl Terminator, she looked way too perfect and OP, which of course is the idea, but she just looked too fake. Unlike Arnold, who like always did a fine job as a Terminator. This movie is just too silly and also a waste of time. Animation is great, obviously, the story of our rat buddy is interesting, but it didn't really do much for me. We saw where things were going from the start and there were no big plot twists keeping it interesting. Ego Trip is one of the best cartoon movies of a cartoon show ever made, coming close to the Ed, Edd and Eddy conclusion. Ego Trip created a very interesting time travel mechanic story which I'm a fan of, and our favorite characters are still here. I appreciate the effort put into this, considering how they completely massacred season 3 and season 4 of the show with the new art direction. Some parts of this movie I didn't like though, but they're just a few, so it's okay. Breaking Bad did not need an extra conclusion since we got a fantastic one in the show itself. This movie follows the event immediately after Breaking Bad, and I gotta say, they were fantastically done, unlike the prequel events from BTS. I love Jesse and his buddies, more screen time was welcome, and the extra conclusion was very satisfying even though we didn't need it. A post-apocalyptic movie about a father and a son lost in the world after a world event which is never explained. Is it nuclear war, a plague, massive tsunami, global warming? Nobody knows, and it's what keeps it interesting. Well, that and the connection between the two characters and the action they take to stay alive. The first Terminator set the stage for the series and set it very well. I never actually watched the first movie before, but since a kid I have watched 2 and 3 multiple times. I never knew the origin story about Terminators, and the later movies were a bit confusing. It's a shame we gotta watch this one to fully understand everything, and it's not really well recapped in Terminator 2, but hey, I'm glad I finally got to view it. Do yourself a favor and never touch Season 3 and Season 4. Dexter's Laboratory is my childhood and each episode is unique, had so much charm, interesting and unique ideas, while Season 3 and 4 ruin the characters, the art style, the episodes are slow and the humor is terrible. I wish they didn't exist. This is the movie which steered the series away from street racing. After this movie it was all about guns, explosions and macho man posing for the camera. It's the last good Fast and the Furious movie, since it's not as over the top as the later ones. Sure, what happens here would never happen in real life, but the ideas were great and it was a great spectacle. It seems like everybody hated this sequel, but I think it was greatly done. I love the story of Kovu and the new Pride. Yeah, it undermines the events from the original, but since a new good story was presented, I am okay with it. It's the first time I watched this movie in English and whoa man, the Bulgarian dub is complete and utter garbage. I can't believe I watched it the wrong way for 30 years. The movie is as great as it always was, even after 50 viewings. Yes, as a kid this was my jam and I could not get enough of it, despite the terrible Bulgarian dub. A great movie about an adventure of a few fish. They travel across the world, getting into dangerous situations which almost cost them their lives multiple times. It's a fantastic story about a father and a son, and how the father needs to overcome his fears so that the two can get along better. It shows a moral story where you gotta set aside your fears and enjoy life since you get only one of it, and you gotta live it to the fullest. Honestly, this movie is ruined after watching the sequel and it could have been higher on the list. As a kid I watched it non-stop though and I loved it to bits. Baloo is such a great character, man. Cheerful, carefree, can also be serious and really loves Mowgli. If you watched it then please don't watch the sequel because you'll see this one in a completely new light and it will ruin your experience. Like I said, the best show ever made, and this is my third time watching all the seasons. I only did it in preparations for BTS, but ended up enjoying this 10 times more. I love the connection between our characters, the look into how meth heads live, the troubles they face, the inner workings of the police force. All of this was an incredibly fun concept to me, and that's why I'll watch it again in the future. Again, the Bulgarian dub I watched as a kid is awful, but the English one is not great either. Animating this movie would have been a nightmare with all the puppies running around, especially when it came out. Props to the animators. Watching movies with animals is very fun, especially when they have accurate real-life movement. I cannot believe this movie came out close to 90 years ago. I refuse. I mean, the animation is a dead giveaway, but 1938? Come on, the movie was way ahead of its time. It's sweet, shows how greed can corrupt somebody if they get consumed by it. Also, the movie shows you a knife. Can you believe it? We can't have smokes in the new Pinocchio movie, but have a person trying to stab somebody with a knife. Ugh, how times have changed. My favorite cartoon of all time, and this is my 4th time watching season 5. It's the new one which came out a few years ago, unlike the older ones which came over a decade ago, so if you haven't seen it, go ahead. It gives a nice conclusion to Jack's story. The last 3 episodes are pretty trash to me, unfortunately, since they explore a topic not shown before in the series, but overall, the darker tone of season 5 is appreciated. Even the worst Kung Fu Panda movie is absolutely amazing. In this one, Po is more familiar with the Kung Fu ways and is an actual member of the elites. It's a nice continuation to the original and nothing was ruined, which seems to be pretty standard nowadays. This one is a bit better, but not by much. I love the Panda Village here. There was a genuine sense of danger, especially with how powerful the main villain was. The animation of his swords is absolutely fantastic. They seem to have increased the budget significantly here, since animation overall was heaps better than before. The best Terminator movie and my introduction to the series. Both Terminators did a fantastic job, they're badass. Arnold unfortunately was very limited since our goody two-shoes kid doesn't want anybody to get killed. Come on dude, give Arnold a chance to show us some more explosions. Oof, with that minor gripe, this was fantastic. Monkey Man doing monkey stuff, and then doing some human stuff too. One of the few movies I prefer with a Bulgarian dub. Clayton's voice is terrible in English, but overall the music is nice, the jungle looks fantastic, and I just love it. The origin movies seem to always be the best to me. I love seeing how a character starts off from nothing and becomes so famous and known. It's probably why I enjoy the GTA games so much. I like humble beginnings and the humor in this one. It's like every 5 minutes I laugh at something happening on the screen, making me have a huge grin on my face throughout the whole movie. Again, origin story and a movie containing one of the saddest deaths in any media ever. This was heartbreaking when I first watched it as a kid, and it still got me in the feels. This year, I was rooting for our furry little friend the whole time despite knowing the outcome. I always root for Mufasa too, but look where that got me. A very simple movie showing the dangers of nuclear war. I'm pretty sure you can figure out why I watched this movie in early March this year. It has something to do with some real-life events, which are still not concluded. This movie is scary, but not in the traditional way. It shows how you will absolutely die no matter what in this scenario if it happens, and you won't even know it. A slow decay of all your organs, and man, it's so gut-wrenching. Nothing fun in this movie, but it's worth a watch. Origin story, let's go! Street racing! I love it! I wish the movies went back to this scene nowadays. I wish Vin Diesel could learn how to act again like how he did here. In the newer movie he just stares at the camera, mumbles a bit and shows some muscle. Here he actually feels like a human being. I love this movie to bits. Guys, this is not a kids movie. Hell no! The topics in this movie will go over the head of children. This is one of the very few movies which made me question my existence and why I am put on this earth. It made me question what would have happened if I changed some aspects in my life. A movie which shows topics which seem like they are never discussed, and I'm very happy they did in this one. Again, I wonder why I watched this show in 2022. One of the best shows ever made, showing some real life events, which are not entirely accurate, but if they wanna make a compelling story they had to do it. Not much to say here. If you like documentaries of real life events, then this comes very close to that. I repeat, street racing in Miami, the setting, the cars, the music, the no Vin Diesel, the action, the ladies. This movie has it all. Put a very interesting plot in there too and you got yourself a masterpiece. Hands down the scariest movie ever. A documentary, yep, something I haven't watched in years. Everything you expect in a documentary is here. Lots of nature shots, no annoying music, a British bloke speaking from time to time, and lots of animals. The budget on this one seems to be much higher since the nature shots were much harder to get, I imagine. Some of the topics discussed here are not really to my liking, I'm not really interested in them, but the overall production quality is much better, probably the best documentary ever made, and if you guys have any suggestions for more, then let me know in the comment section below. Leave a like while you're down there and also let me know what you watched in 2022. Thank you for watching this video and a special thank you to Monish Puri, SMRJ, Pari Bruce Lane, Epic LF, Gaze Nice, Shin Tay, Clint McCurley, Jacob Madley, Max Robinson, Jim Francesco, Sola Velikanen and everybody else.